Welcome to Freed on Business. He grew up in South Florida, has been in business here since the early 90s, and has closed over $3 billion in deals. He's seen it all. He always has an opinion, and he's always ready to share it. Informed, entertaining, and connected, he has his finger on the pulse of South Florida's business community. He's Jim Freed, and this is Freed on Business.
All right, everybody, welcome to episode 806 on Freed on Business. I want to welcome you. I want to remind you we're streaming live on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram. You can follow us at Freed on Business or at Jim Freed. Today, we're going to talk about solving the Rubik's Cube of the real estate market, and especially the residential real estate market here in South Florida. I want to thank our sponsors for the last 13, 14 years. Warren Henry Automotive. I want to thank Larry, Eric, Ismet, the whole team over at Warren Henry. They've always been great to me and my family. They're great to a lot of my friends and clients. They're here throughout South Florida with an ever-expanding portfolio of brands. And now back to today's topic. Land deals are really just a math equation. And today, land deals are what drives the South Florida residential industry. And as I said, they're really just a math equation. There's the price of land, the price of construction, what you can sell or rent the properties for. And then it really all comes down to your cost of capital and your ability to control your costs. They know what it costs to build. It's expensive, and that's not going down. And they know what they can sell or rent it for. And really what you really need to find is who your right capital partner can be, because it's all driven by the cost of capital and your capital stack. And that's why I can really help you out. Right now, I'm working on one project where I found an outlier, a piece of land on the beach that's been overlooked for years. It's owned by a family, and one of my friends in the business called and said, "Hey, can you help me sell this land?" They'd been all over the marketplace and shown it to just about everybody, or so they thought. I made one phone call, and one of my close friends for 35, 40 years is getting ready to write an LOI on it. And their LOI is going to be strictly driven by the cost of capital, the cost to complete, and the cost of land. And when I was talking to the person that had the listing, they said, well, that's not going to be enough to get us across the finish line as far as price goes. Just raise your assumption on what you can sell the units for or lease them for. And I said, hey, you're a smart person. You've been in this marketplace for 30 years. Can you look somebody in the eye and say that you can really sell it for that price or lease it for that price? They said, well, if you find the person with the other agenda, like Ken Griffin. And I said, there you go. People don't do that. They don't reach for the outlier. They use the mainstream because they're talking to people that underwrite the transaction. They're institutional in nature, that know the marketplace and aren't really going to stretch beyond the maximum that they believe that the market can support. And so that's what you need to base your underwriting on. Because the reality is that the market does not have that much, I'm going to use a fancy term, price elasticity. There's only so much that people will pay, and then the equation breaks. You have to have the right seller once you get the offer. That seller has to be ready to sell. A lot of times I go, who's selling, why are they selling, and how long has it been on the market? And if the seller isn't motivated to make a deal and they haven't achieved enough price discovery yet, you're probably wasting your time. And you can't just sit around and build on something that your overall cost of capital is 10 or 11%, if you're lucky, when you include what you're borrowing to pay for the land, usually equity, and what you're over the bank loan or the hot money debt fund, and then the construction loan. Again, you're borrowing equity there from somebody. Most developers or builders build with OPM, other people's money. It's a term in real estate. A lot of people say location, location, location. Really, it's OPM. What can you get your money and how cheap can you get your money for? You know, except for best-in-class merchant developers, it's extremely difficult today because most developers can't make the equation work. I meet all these developers. They want to do 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90 unit deals, and they just can't get the price structure into alignment. They don't do enough deals. They can't buy the price down on labor or their materials. The really vertically integrated developer knows that they have to keep their subs happy, that they have to make sure that the subs get paid on time, and they have to have all their inputs into the deal bought as soon as they can in bulk for the cheapest amount of price. When you're vertically integrated, you can clamp down on these prices. And as I said, you have to have access to the most inexpensive capital and the most inexpensive labor. On the capital side, I've got that. I've even got a construction lender that'll loan at 250 over SOFR, which is about 30 to 50 basis points less than most lenders are at today. And they'll stretch to 65 plus on loan to cost. So again, a higher amount of debt into the deal, which allows you to borrow less money on the equity side, which lowers your overall cost of your capital stack. And again, a lot of the developers that I'm working with have legacy transactions, which means they bought the land or contracted for the land a number of years ago and have done changes to the land, either upzoned it or assembled it, or perhaps they've been able to create a replatting and separated the different land uses. And today, part of their approvals can go to a for sale developer, and part of them stays with the rental developer. That for sale developer is able to pay them enough so that it buys down the cost of their land and actually allows them to build it for a number that makes sense on an overall cost basis. But very few people have that kind of structure, but I have it. A lender that's 30, 20, 30, even 40 basis points lower than the market can really help you make your deal work. Having that lower cost of capital helps you. So we're going to be right back after this short message for the last word, our big takeaway. Mr. Mendoza, the show is yours. I want to thank our good friends at Warren Henry Automotive, Larry, Eric, Ismet, Warren, the whole team over there that have been supporting our show for so many years, well over a decade, heading into our second decade now at 13, 14 years. I completely lost count on how long our friends at Warren Henry have been patrons of the show and patrons of our community. They know what it takes to get a deal done. They've got all the nameplates at 151st and Biscayne. They have Land Rover, Range Rover, Infiniti, Jaguar, and Lincoln. Up in Gainesville, they've got Audi. Down in the Keys, they've got all the great nameplates. In South Dade and West Broward, they've got their great award-winning Land Rover, Range Rover stores. What do all these things have in common? They have a package of benefits and services that Warren and Larry and Eric have put together to make sure that your buying and ownership experience are seamless and wonderful. I'm getting ready to take all my cars over there and getting them all serviced. Gerald, my service advisor there, is just the most amazing person. He treats me with kindness and respect, which is all you really want to get there. They're transparent and they're wonderful people. So if you're looking to buy or lease a car, you want to get every advantage that you can. That's why you go to Warren Henry. You become a member of Warren Henry family. They treat you like gold. It's a lifetime relationship you get with them. So remember, join me, my mom, my beautiful wife, Vivian, lots of my clients and friends. We're all members of the Warren Henry family. You should be too. Always the best price, always the best service, always Warren Henry. All right, everybody, we've been talking about doing real estate transactions and the capital structure and how your cost and both the land and the capital and your labor and your materials really makes the difference. It's also the same with working with the right consultants. I work with a lot of family offices, a lot of high net worth investors, and a lot of legacy real estate developers here in South Florida and across the state. And one thing that I have in common with them is an alignment of interests. We're all working to get the same thing done, bringing the deal in on time and on budget. I know who to call, where to call. I create relationships for people that sometimes know each other, and I create new relationships with them. So it's really about solving the Rubik's Cube, as I said with the intro to the show. Reach out to me at my, you can call me. You can email me. We can bring the transaction to you, bring it in on time and under budget. And remember, whenever you call me, it's always all about you. Now, what's the bottom line here with what we've been talking about? You've got to find the right deal. You have to create the right transactional energy. You've got to make sure you have the right seller. You have to have the right lender. I'm working with a lender that's new to the market, that's 20, 30, even 40 basis points lower than the other lenders in the market. And this is sometimes the marginal relationship that can help you make a deal. We once had one of the accounting firms on. They said, you make it at the margin. It's pennies on the margin that brings the deal all the way to the finish line. I've got other people that I work with that have great value in the land. They purchased the land or got it contributed to the transaction. We're able to change the land use, either get the density approved for a little bit more or split the uses that can be on the land. A recent deal I closed in Homestead had the front was all retail and then the back was the residential, and they were able to make the numbers work because they won an RFP. It's special things like this that a legacy developer, and then they had the best cost of labor, and then we got them the best cost of capital. All those things are important. You can't whiff on one of them. You have to have everything pointed in the right direction in today's marketplace to make your deal work. So that's what I bring to the table. I know how to get these deals done. I know who to call. The last few deals I've done simply with one telephone call, putting people together that have been working with me for many years. It's the experience and it's the knowledge. It's the ability to know how to solve the Rubik's Cube. Not everybody can do it. It does take a special effort, a special focus, and persistence. And believe me, no one can do it alone. You need the right teammates, the right components, from lawyers on land use, to the right lawyers on your transaction, to your right lender, to your good equity partner, to the right cost structure on both materials and labor, and the right land price. To put all those things together, you need the right person. And I like to think that's me, and a lot of the people in town agree with me. Remember, if you missed something on today's episode, you can check us out on the replay at any of my social media outlets, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, or Instagram. Look for @JimFried or @FriedOnBusiness. You can head over to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to your audio, and check out all of our other podcasts. I want to thank our sponsors, Warren Henry. Without our sponsors, people like Warren Henry and our friends at the Bergstrom Center for Real Estate Studies, our show wouldn't be possible. Remember, the person who wants to do something finds a way. The other finds an excuse. Now go out there and make it happen. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America. Mr. Mendoza, this is your part, and you're the expert.